All right, what's up, guys? Happy Wednesday. If you are catching the replay, we just went through the leaderboards and we had such an exciting month of February. So many people winning, so many new people coming in. Specifically tonight, though, I want to highlight a handful of people that are doing really, really exciting things in a short period of time. So everyone you're going to hear from tonight is new. And a lot of you on this call are A, either new, or you're B, bringing in new people. And so what I hope that tonight's call is going to do is it's going to really inspire you to hear from people that are in the learning curve and figuring it out. So, Sid, if you want to go to the next slide, I'm going to go one by one and introduce people we've got on our panel tonight. All right, Anna Safavi. She joined in August of 2023, so she's been here about 6 months. She's going to be the OG on our panel tonight. No one on our panel has been here longer than Anna, so she is here only 6 months. She officially was announced today, slingshot to 95%. She has personally, since her time here, written 42 applications for 53,000 APV, and she's got a team now of 4 writers that have done 61 apps for 67K. So this is Anna. Who else do we have coming up tonight? All right, Katie Barnacle. Katie joined December 28th. Today is exactly 2 months for Katie. She officially slingshot to 85%. January was her first full month in business, hit slingshot right out of the gate, got a bonus, what was it, like $2,600 for that effort in slingshot. So pretty kick-ass bonus there. She personally, in the last 2 months, has written 11 apps for 19K. So let's welcome Katie up to our panel here. Who we got next? Julie Chesnowski. Jules, she joined November 21st. She's been here about 3 months. She is expected, based on what she did in February, expected to slingshot to 85%. So we'll be expecting to announce that next month. She personally, in these last 3 months, has written 13 apps for 15K. But I want you to see the rhythm she's getting into here. Though of the 13 and 15, 10 apps for 11K have been in just the last 3 weeks. So she might have been here for 3 months, but she's getting it now, which is the reason I wanted her up on this panel. All right, who's next? Joy Hutcherson. Joy joined November 17th. She's been here about 3 months. She has personally written 16 apps for 14K. She was featured on a Razor Ridge training call because she is a beast in that platform and learning. And on a personal and side note, if you have ever talked to Joy, she is her namesake in spirit. She brings so much joy and life to any room she's in. Can't wait to hear from her tonight. I think we got one more here. Evan Brown. Everyone loves Evan. Evan is jamming in the workroom, dancing. Evan is a vibe unto himself. He joined November 30. Been here about 3 months. Personally, he's written 14 applications for 12K. But like Jules, 8 apps for 8K has come just in the last 3 weeks. So really starting to get a little flow here. And he is expected also, based on what he did in February, he's expected to slingshot to 85%. So I'm going to be nominating him for that, and we'll hopefully and expectedly be celebrating him next month when we do promotions. So let me go ahead, and I am going to, Sid, if you want to stop screen sharing. And let's go ahead and spotlight the rest of our panel here. So let's add a spotlight for Anna. Great. Let's add a spotlight for Joy. Here's Joy. Let's add a spotlight for Joy. Katie's here. Let's add a spotlight for Katie. Is Jules? I thought I saw Jules on here. I know she had.
I'm here. Unfortunately, I'm literally feeding my daughter right now.
No, you're
so,
good. You're good, Jules. Just put your. You know what? I'm gonna add the spotlight anyway.
Okay, I normally have my camera on, but like this is a tough time of night for us.
Oh yeah, you're good. You know what? No, I can't even spotlight you till you have your video on. So whether if you can join us, great. If you can't, no worries. All right.
Okay, it's on. It's just dark. Sorry.
No, you're good.
You guys see me?
Yeah, we got you spotlighted up here. All right, so welcome to our new agent panel. I am so excited about this because, man, let's be honest, the learning curve here is real. It is real, it is legit, it is hard, it is all of those things. And so we'll often face new people coming in here that slap into the learning curve and have trouble coming out of it. You know, when I was first vetting Symmetry as an opportunity, I was talking to Jacob Pogue, and I went to him and I'm like, all right, dude, listen, I can see all the leaderboards. I can see the people winning, walking stage, doing like, I get it. All that stuff's cool. I want to know what the average agent does. Dude does not bat an eyelash, looks right at me and he goes, well, Jim, the average agent quits. I'm like, whoa, okay, caught off guard. Number one, I didn't expect that level of transparency. Two, tell me more about that. And really what he dug into was the fact that, you know, most people are coming in here without experience. And this is, while there's a very high income potential. I mean, you're talking like doctor income potential. At higher levels, you're talking like big money. And people expect to be good at this. Like day one, like somehow I got my license and I'm going to be good. And they don't give themselves the grace to learn. And there is a learning curve and there is the cost of education. And there are leads that you're not going to win that you 3 months and 6 months from now would have won with the learning curve. And it's so easy to judge the lead and say the lead's not good. And I'm like, even you 6 months from now would have closed that lead. Does that make the lead not good? Or does that just mean you've got some stuff to learn? So what I'm hoping you can get from tonight is I'm hoping you can hear from people who are in the learning curve just like you and are figuring it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just popcorn questions around. I'm going to call on one of you guys and I'm going to have you answer that question. Don't get too long-winded. There are 5 of you. We got half an hour, so we've got some time. But just kind of, I'm going to toss you a question. Do your best to be as concise as you can with giving it the respect it deserves and not being too short. I introduced you first. I'm going to start with you. You're the OG here on this thread. I want you to talk to us. First of all, what attracted you to Symmetry? Like, where were you at in life and what was it about this that made you want to join here?
That's a great question. So I had been in the direct sales space for about 6.5 years, and I found myself extremely burnt out of constantly feeling like I was building, and my paycheck was dependent on how my overall team was doing. I felt like it was a space for me that I really did not have a lot of control over what I was making, and I had a hard time setting boundaries. So I was on my phone all the time. So Jill and I had talked about it frequently. It was not something on my radar, you guys. Like, I actually told Kelly Bush that I'd rather get punched in the face by a gorilla than sell life insurance. So if that gives you any indication in my initial interest, like that's where I was. But a couple things really stood out to me about Symmetry. Number one, I love that we as producers can make a true income on what we do. And I think that for people that are very self-driven, this is a business that you can truly come into and write your own paycheck. And then number two, I loved that our compensation, we start at 80%, but you are in control of increasing your compensation to 85, 90, 95. And once you have gotten that pay raise, it never goes down, right? And that was a huge win to me. And then lastly, the ability to own my own agency. I know that that is something I came in knowing I was going to be an agency owner. And that is definitely the track that I'm on. And so it makes me really excited to help others win right alongside me.
Yeah, I love that. Katie, I'm gonna throw that same question to you. So what was it about Symmetry that you wanted to join here?
It was the freedom. I wanted to be able to spend more time with my kids, to make real money and not just be dependent on my 9 to 5, which is, you know, like a soul crushing corporate law firm, and I'm slowly dying inside still working there because I'm only doing this part-time, but the goal is to get full-time. But I just, you know, I was watching Amber on Instagram posting like all this money and all these people she was helping, and I was just finally, you know, after like 6 months and way too long of watching, was just like, I want to do that. I want to be a part of that. I want to do more. I want to be able to get out of my current situation and just really be able to do something that makes me feel good while also making money, because, you know, let's be real, we all want to make money.
I mean, making
helping
money,
people, but
making money is pretty cool.
yeah, I don't
No
hate
one's
it.
gonna hate on that. Anna, coming back to you, what would you say is the biggest, let's start with resource. What was the biggest resource that you leveraged to help you get where you are and to help get through that learning curve?
Well, there's a couple things. Number one, I really leveraged you, Jill, and Joe. I mean, I asked, when you guys said, like, blow up my phone, I took that as like, I'm literally going to text him as many times as possible. And I mean, I asked all the questions. I remember I asked what a paper diet was, and I was like, I don't know what that is. Like, you want them to eat paper? Why? I don't get this. You know, like, I wasn't scared to ask questions because I knew if I wanted to be good at this, I had to ask the questions that I didn't know, right? I had to get answers. So definitely my mentors. I think we are so lucky with who we have in place. And I think if you are not leveraging your mentors, you are really missing out. Number two, the workroom. That has been pivotal in my success, because working from home can feel really lonely when you are completely on your own. It's easy to not be accountable. But being in the workroom, getting to know people, asking questions in there, live dialing, listening to other people live dial, that has been everything for me. And then third, I would say, is absolutely the SFG quotes page. When I was starting to really learn my underwriting, the underwriting matrix that is in there is so key for you to understand which policies are available for your clients, so that you really are looking at what the best fit is for them. So I would say, like, your mentors, workroom, and then that underwriting cheat sheet.
Yeah, love that. You've got someone, they haven't changed their name on Zoom, so their iPhone in here. They want to know what you mean by paper diet. So here's your chance to share a lesson you learned.
You guys, this is the best thing ever. So paper diet. So let's say that you are working with a client, and maybe within the preferred standard health class, let's say that, you know, they are a little bit on the heavier side. You can give them a paper diet of, you know, maybe 10, 15 pounds, just shave that off of their overall weight to make sure that they will qualify for the policy that you're looking to put them in. So you're not asking them to eat paper, you're simply just kind of shaving a little bit of weight off of them in the policy.
And let's be
Is that fair?
honest. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I like wake up in the morning, we drink some coffee, things start moving. You might lose 5 pounds if you had a big dinner the night before when that starts kicking through, right? So like there's a lot of flexibility in what people weigh. So I'm willing to explore the limits of that flexibility. Katie, I asked you on text yesterday, kind of getting ready for this, with just some lessons you learned, and you zoomed in immediately on things that you had learned about leads. Kind of share with us a little bit on what it is that you've learned about leads.
So I think one of the biggest things that I had to kind of not adjust, but just really accept was that these leads don't owe us anything. Just because you pay for a lead, just because you call a lead, doesn't mean you're going to get anything out of it. I mean, we all hope we're going to get apps out of it, but at the end of the day, these are still people with needs, and you still have to treat them like people. The second you start treating it like this is a number, I'm just trying to get through this question, answer my question, set your appointment, get off the phone with me. It's never going to work. Like, I mean, it wouldn't work if you called me like that. So no, I just treat them like people and it's been working for me. But it's just, that was kind of hard for me because I was buying leads and I wasn't setting as many appointments as I wanted. I wasn't closing those appointments, and I was getting frustrated, feeling like I was failing at this, and it was just, you just got to treat them like people. They don't owe you anything. Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to share something there too.
He knows what's up.
So cute. I love it. Julie, I'm gonna jump over to you now, and I'm gonna ask that same first question I asked Anna and Katie. Kind of share with us about what it was about Symmetry that made you want to jump in here.
So I have kind of a different story. So I was in the software industry, and I was 4 months pregnant back in April, and I got laid off, and I was like, shit, because I had all the benefits, paid time off and all that stuff. And so it was like, shit, what am I going to do? And I could have totally gotten like really depressed and like down and like, oh my God, I can't believe I lost my job at 4 months pregnant. But instead I like turned to the man upstairs, and I was just like, you know what? I was very miserable at my job. I had a manager that treated me poorly. I was working my ass off, and like no one, no recognition, nothing, no bonuses. And so I wasn't happy. So I immediately was like, it was almost like a weight lifted off my shoulder. And I was like, shit, what am I going to do? But I'm like, I got to figure it out. And one day I was on Facebook in some like new moms Facebook group that I randomly joined, and I saw Lindsay Crawford had shared like a note with somebody saying, well, like I have an opportunity and I was looking for a job. So I literally randomly reached out to this person, Lindsay, who I never knew before in my life. And we started chatting. She shared the opportunity with me. I watched the video, and at first I was like, like, what's this all about? I've done Arbonne. So I was like, kind of like, what is this? And the first video I ever watched, it was one of the corporate overviews. I was like, these are my people. And then she added me into some calls. So this was back in June. So I joined some of the weekly calls. I think it was probably like Susie neighbor, I can't ever say his name, call. And I joined, and I was just like, I immediately felt like this tug, like these are real people doing amazing things. And I believed it from the first minute. I'm one of those people that would be skeptical of stuff like, like the multi-level marketing and stuff. But I was like, no, these are real people. They have real stories. And I felt the tug from day one, and I leaned in, and it took me way long to like get my license. Like all summer long, I studied. I didn't do it fast like a lot of people do. And I just set a goal, and I said, I need to get my license before I have this baby. And a week before I had her, I took my exam in my home and I passed. And it was like, okay, goal number one. And then I joined in November, but I had no idea that like once you joined, like you should really be ready to start. So I didn't actually really start until like the last week of December. So first month it was just like, cause I'm going way off topic, but yeah, it was just really just the people, the opportunity, um, that like, first of all, it was kind of like, this is it. This is the only option. And I forgot to mention, I was applying for jobs. I was applying for jobs in the software industry, like I had been doing, and I was having interviews and just nothing was like coming to fruition. So everything just led back to Symmetry. It was the only thing that felt right. And Michelle said to me, the first call I ever was on with Michelle, who's my mentor, she said to me, what did you say, Michelle? It was like, you knew, like, if it feels right in your gut. And that's how Symmetry has always felt from day one. And it still feels like that. And so I think that's what led me here.
I love it. Love it. Evan, you're up. What brought you to Symmetry?
I have a blind trust in Jim. I knew Jim before I came here. He was a business coach for a real estate brokerage I was a part of, and one day he told me about it. He told me the door was open, and I said, "Okay, I trust you, so I'm gonna come try this out." And here I am now.
I love that. I couldn't be more honored by that. So, and I'm not going to steer you wrong, buddy. We're going to have some fun here. Joy,
Definitely.
kicking that same question to you. What brought you to Symmetry?
Desperation. I was in a point in my life where nothing, like I honestly came from a place of failure. I had lost my job 2 times in 1 year, 1 calendar year. So I remember like Kelly, Marty, she had less than 60 days before I joined, been like, hey, you should come do this thing. I think you would be really good at this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh God, here comes the like savvy pitch. Because I was like scrolling through all the hey girly texts I had gotten from her. And I'm like, hey girl, like no thanks. And I lost my job again. And I literally called her back like less than 60 days after, and she probably laughed at my message. Because I remember driving in the car and I was like, hey, do you have time to talk? And she was like, I do. And I was like, hey, is the insurance thing still on the table? And she's like, it's always on the table. And I'm like, I might need to eat that meal. I got negative dollars in my bank account. So like maybe we should start talking about how to do that. And I was seriously so broke. And came here because I was like literally desperate and didn't know what it was, what I was going to do. And I don't know, I just couldn't imagine being.
I love that. She broke up a little bit at the end, but I think
somewhere else.
I think we got the gist of it. Joy, your connection's kind of cutting in and out a little bit there. Julie, I'm gonna come back to you. And you and I have not gotten to know each other really well yet. I do know Michelle well, and so we have talked a lot about you, and even in your like admission that you weren't fast to get through the exam, and then you came here and you weren't quite ready. You seem to be someone that likes to process information first, and then once you have sufficiently processed, then you act on that. Now, when I was talking to you about this call, you said that for you, it's been a couple things. One, just really the repetition, or AKA that mileage, and then also doing things brave before you're ready. Talk to us about what you mean by repetition mileage, what that actually meant for you in your process.
Yeah, so I feel like you hear the same things over and over again with Symmetry, and there's a reason, because it works. And the reason why Jim says, make 1,000 dials before, you figure out your numbers or whatever. And I followed the system, and I think now I lost track of the question. Sorry.
No, what
Um,
did you mean by mileage, repetition?
okay.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. So just following the system and doing it every single day, making the dials, working on the verbiage, being in the workroom, like doing everything the same every day, just really making it so it's ingrained in your head. So that when you finally find your voice, it's so easy to like connect with people, talk confidently. I mean, this is really my second month I just wrapped up. Like, first month was like, frustrating. I made a lot of appointments, didn't make any sales. Didn't make my first sale until the first week of February, I think it was, or like the last week of January. And then the next day she canceled. And so it was like, ugh, but I kept going, and I kept doing it. And I used to ski race for a long time. And one of my coaches always said, like, it's mileage, it's all mileage, meaning you just keep doing it as hard as it is, as long as it takes. Don't give up. You keep doing it, and one day it's just going to start making sense. And that's it here. That's what it was
Yeah,
like for me.
I love that. Now, people have different experiences, I've learned, but for me, I never had a light bulb just come on where one day I just got it. Yesterday I didn't, today I did. For me, it was just a lot of like watching your kids grow up. And it's like you're with them every day and they don't seem to be, but when you look back 6 months, you're like, whoa, did you have a growth spurt? And that's what the learning curve was for it. Like, I looked back 6 months and I'm like, I'm way better at this than I used to be. Like, I'm setting appointments I wouldn't have set before. Like, so for me, it was that mileage. It was just doing it over and over and over and not being judgmental or critical of myself at every turn, at every call. How'd that go? At every call. No, it'd be like 1,000 calls and then pop my head up and ask how that went. Evan, I'm coming over to you. And I've got a couple things for you here based on the text that you sent. And I'm going to pull this up here real quick. So in talking about the things that were important for you, you mentioned the resources, and Anna kind of dove into those. So I'm gonna let those go. But the first thing you actually said was finding and knowing your purpose was important. Talk to me about what you mean by that.
So my whole life, I kind of knew I wanted to help people in some form or fashion, but I didn't know what that looked like. And I actually didn't even know when I joined Symmetry. I didn't know when I sold my first policy. But when we went to Ignite in the beginning of this month, actually, hasn't even been a month.
Seems forever ago, doesn't it?
Yeah, seriously, it does. But Marlon Faulkner, I think that's how you say his last name. Anyway, he was up on stage and he said something that really resonated with me, and I didn't know it would, but it just did. And he said, all I've wanted to do my whole life was matter to other people. And I never, for some reason, knew how to put that into words or even knew that's what I wanted. But I now know that I can do that here, down the line, being an agency owner, mattering to my agents that I will have in the future. So yeah, that's going to be my purpose.
Dude, I love that a lot. And it brings up even the second thing that I wanted to dive in with you was Ignite was a big deal for you. Hearing Marlon, kind of getting that spark, him putting words into, like, how important would you say, and why was it important to be at Ignite?
That's a loaded question. Why was it important? That was
Yeah, what was it about? What was it about it that was important, or why was it important? What made Ignite so instrumental for you?
Having people talk to us, and actually it felt like the whole time, even when they were on stage, they were kind of talking to me. That's a little self-centered, but it did feel like they were talking to me the whole time. And them coming from nothing a lot of the time, like Brad Smith, he had $200,000 worth of debt when he joined, and Marlon being homeless before he came here, they didn't come from anything. And then there's people that came from a similar upbringing to me too. And just seeing people that come from all different backgrounds and they're all up there on stage making millions of dollars a year. I mean, that's crazy to me. And there's not a lot of other places where people can do that, in my opinion, without knowing anybody or, having a network to be able to get up to that point. So that's really impressive to me.
So you left there really inspired.
Yeah. Mainly not questioning what my purpose is in life anymore, which was really good. Sounds dramatic, but genuinely.
Yeah, it's cool. I zoom in on that one because you're going to hear us over the course of the next couple months really pushing national conference in Denver. And those in-person events for the association are just so big. So mark your calendars for September already. Get national conference on your radar. You're going to want to be there. Joy, I'm coming over to you, and you gave me a couple really good things, and I'm looking at what I want to zoom in on, and I think I want to zoom in on what you gave me as your bonus number 3. You said you're only as big as you see yourself. When I first came in here, I was petrified to invest in myself because my fear overtook any ounce of faith I could have had. Man, can you unpack that a little bit for us?
Yeah. Kind of like I said before, I had come from so much like failure. And I felt like a loser, not in like the ha-ha way, but like in a literal, like I was losing at life. I had, negative dollars in my bank account. My mortgage was 2 months behind. I have a 5-year-old for anyone that doesn't know. And so the idea of investing in myself when I didn't even have the confidence to do what I got my degree in, really just overtook me. I can remember like we had a conversation, I was talking to Kelly and you guys were like, buy leads, like leads are your pipeline. And I'm on all these calls and they're like, leads are your pipeline and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, where the hell am I going to get lead money? Like, I don't even have money in my bank account. And then when I was buying leads, even when I was talking on the phone with them, my cadence and my confidence and the way I was describing, opportunities for them, I didn't really feel like there was a possibility for me, like little old Joy, to leave an impact or actually help those people or feel confident enough to know what I was doing. I just don't know that there was necessarily like a day or a time. But I just kind of remember one week, maybe just coming off of actually showing up to all the calls and just deciding that this is where I was going to plant my flag. And I wasn't half in the water, half out, or, I think one of your non-negotiables really resonated with me when you were like, you have to be curious and not critical. And so, that really changed my mindset a lot of like, how am I going to do this instead of why am I here or what am I going to do? It was how am I going to get it done? Who are the people I'm going to bring along with me on this journey? I'm not going to be a sinker agent. I want to share this, mission with everyone. And kind of to go off what Evan said, like it felt like purposeful. And I found a lot of meaning within myself and it allowed me to really like catapult my business. I literally think that weekend I went off and wrote like 5 applications and started getting to the digital space. And I don't know, I just started finding my niche.
Yeah, so freaking good. Anna, I'm gonna come back to you and I'm putting you on the spot first, and everyone else is gonna get a hot second to think about it because I'm gonna ask them the same question. In 1 minute, what is the single biggest lesson you've learned? Wide open. It can be about yourself, it can be about whatever, but I'm going to put you on the spot for the biggest lesson you've learned since your time here, that maybe you wish you knew or didn't expect to know, but kind of the biggest lesson that you've learned since you came here in 1 minute.
It's a really big question, Jim. Thanks for having me be the first.
Hey, you're the OG here. That comes with some responsibility.
It does. I think it all boils into belief in yourself. I remember actually vividly, Jim, having a conversation with you. This was probably in the fall, one of my tearful conversations with you. And I was crying and said, I don't know I don't know that I'm worthy of this. And I think that there was so much in my past that made me feel like I was not worthy for different reasons of success. And I had capped myself on, what I was capable of. And I think Symmetry has taught me so much about what is possible, and not only what is possible for other people, but what is truly possible for me. And I have so much more confidence in who I am today because of all of the hard that we've gone through in the first, couple months. And I know that this is just scratching the surface of who Anna 2.0, 3.0, 4.0 is going to be. And so it makes me really excited to see that not only is this company going to change my family's life, it is also going to grow me into the human that I'm meant to be and that I'm called to be. So I would say I would say that that's the biggest lesson, is truly believing in myself and my abilities. And all that, overflows from that is, of course, the service to people, which is huge.
Yeah, so good. Katie, I'm swinging over to you. 1 minute. The biggest lesson that you've learned since you started here.
I think the biggest lesson that I've learned for myself is that I matter, and it's okay for me to believe in myself, because that has been something that has been so hard for me. Not going to get into my whole past, but no one's ever really believed in me. No one's ever told me I could do something. When I wanted to go to college and high school, they told me not to bother. And so it was like every time I wanted to do something and be successful, I was always met with that resistance of just don't worry about it. You're never going to be able to do it. And it wasn't until I got here and I really started to actually lean into the culture and really start to accept that, because it was really hard for me in the beginning. I'm not a generally optimistic person. And I think I called like the group me and like Symmetry like a cult in the beginning, on top of calling it a pyramid scheme and all those other great things, because I was so just taken aback by everyone's just genuine happiness for each other. And I didn't know what to do with that. So just being able to lean into that and accept it and not be afraid of it, because that's really what it boiled down to. I was just afraid and I didn't know what to do with that kind of positivity, and I'm working on it. But yeah, it's for me, it's just that I can believe in myself. I can rely on myself, and it's okay.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, for what it's worth, I would bet on you 100%. It's
maybe not every day.
Nah, well, you'll get there. But I'm proud of what you're doing,
We'll
Katie.
see.
Julie, coming to you.
Thank you.
We got 1 minute. Biggest lesson you learned.
So belief was on my number 3 that I sent you, Jim.
I'm
'cause I sent a
I'm
number 3.
sensing a theme here among this
Yeah.
group.
But I mean, I'll kind of, go pivot a little bit. So definitely belief in yourself. But my word, the call that Christina Watts led a couple weeks ago, where we all picked a word. Mine, the first second she brought that topic up, my thought was perseverance. Okay. I had just gone through my first month, a huge learning curve, didn't only sell one policy, to a warm lead. Or a warm market, somebody from Facebook. So it wasn't like a lead. And I was starting to doubt myself, and I was like, oh man, this is so hard. But like, I see all these people, they're just doing it. Like, I know I can do it. And like, I just put my head down and I kept going, and I decided not to give up. So I guess the lesson would be that, you really, it's as corny as it sounds. You can do hard things, and if you just put your mind to it, like if you really, really want something, you could freaking do it. You just have to figure out how. It's not when, it's how. I just like really having patience and determination to just not give up. And because I know, and I've already prepared myself, I'm like, there will probably come a time in my journey with Symmetry where it will be hard. I'll have a hard month, I'll have a hard week, whatever. I'll get a charge back, whatever it is. And I've already prepared myself to not give up when those days come. I don't, hope for them, but I'm sure they will. I'm just preparing myself, but I'm just told myself already, I've made a promise to myself not to give up. Because I can see by watching everyone else ahead of me, everyone else who's been successful, I can see that everyone has that same quality of persevering when times get tough.
Yeah, I'll tell you that was as I was going through this kind of biggest lesson, I even thought of mine. That was hands down mine. When I got to the point where I realized it wasn't a matter of whether I could do this, it was just figuring out how. That changed the game. So I knew I could, everyone else is. And I don't want to put people on the spot, but there's a lot of people dumber than me that are doing really big things here. I would literally tell myself that. I'm like, if they can freaking do it, like there's people dumber and lazier than me pulling this thing off, if they can do it. So once I wrapped my mind around, okay, I can, then it was just figuring out how, and that took a lot of pressure off. It didn't make it easier, but it took pressure off. Evan, coming to you. You got 1 minute. Hit us with your biggest lesson you've learned.
All right. Well, okay. I'm just trying to put
You
this
can't
in the
hold
words
me
right now.
on. You've
So,
had time to
all right, my
think.
bad. My bad. Trusting in your leaders. I always have had a big head my whole life. If you've talked to me for any length of time at all, you know that I do. It's hard for me to be led because I'm just naturally wanting to do exactly what I want to do, and that's it. Anyway, when I met Jim, I kind of let that down, and I actually trust him to lead me to where I need to be and want to be at. So that's my biggest lesson, is trusting in the person who's leading me and being able to be led.
Yeah, the humility and being willing to be led is a really, really phenomenally good lesson to learn. Joy, you got a minute. What you got, girl?
Yes. I would say 3 C's. Caring about yourself, caring about the people who are on the other side of the phone, caring about, what you're doing, what your purpose is, what your goal is. Conquering, your goals in front of you, conquering what's next for you, seeing bigger than what this is in the now. And having the courage to go that direction, go wherever you're going, put down your walls to actually promote and escalate yourself to that next level. This is something that was in the Jamie Susie call that Jeremy said. He said, a dream is just a dream if you have no plan. So come in here with a plan and put it to action. And once you reach those first goals, get ready for the next ones. I tap into my mentors all the time because I see myself being an equity partner one day. I don't even have a team, but that's where I see myself. So, I'm like, oh, a team's next, Theo's next, this is next, this is next. So you just really have to see yourself bigger than what it is now, because your potential is only the greatest point that you can imagine yourself going.
Man, that's so good. Hey, all of you guys that got to listen to this panel, can you go ahead over to the chats and just give us one takeaway, one word, one something that you're going to pull out of this and you're going to be able to leverage. I want these brand new agents to go in and read these comments so that they can understand that even though they're new, they're already making a difference. Go over to the comments, let them know what you took from this. Unstoppable, persevere, inspired, persevere. There it is again. Courage, energized, courage, no quit, multiple exclamation points. I can do this, just getting started. Persevere, persistence, belief, I can do hard things, determination, perseverance and grit, belief, never give up, believe in yourself, badassery, get out of my own way, fire, so much good stuff. I want each of you to know, I loved hearing from every single one of you, truly. You guys have heard from me enough to know that I am very big on the power of belief and belief in yourself and building that confidence. And you guys are all getting that. You're getting that. And I'm hearing that back. And I'm like, oh, they're getting it like that. It lights me up. But what I want you guys to see is that as you're building that confidence in yourself and growing this, it's coming out and impacting other people. You can go through this comments. You guys have been here 3 months, 2 months, 6 months, and you're already impacting a team of people bigger than you, been here longer than you, and you're already making an impact, which is the start of the impact each of you is going to make on to exponentially butterfly effect lots of people. We as an agency, myself as the owner of this, so grateful that you guys landed here, so grateful that you caught a vision for yourself, for your goals, for where you're going. We together are all here for each other, and we're so grateful for you guys. Larson Life Group, have a great night. Have a great week. Love you all. Blow up my phone. I will get this replay, which we will all want to watch over and over when we're doubting ourselves. I will get this up on our YouTube channel tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.